Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Dunn and I'm super excited to go over the topic today of spirit guides. Before we jump into that though, you should know that I am a medium and a Reiki master and an author, and this channel is basically about all things awesome, fun, spiritual, and positive. So let's get started. So a lot of people ask me, what are spirit guides? So spirit guides can be a mix of a lot of different things. They can be angels, for example, like archangels, like Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, whatever. They can also be past loved ones. So this means somebody that you knew in human form that has passed away, and then they decided to continue on helping you as you go through on your life journey. Then we have ascended masters. These could be Reiki masters, monks, anybody that had some really interesting insight and spiritual gifts that have crossed over and passed on. But they could be hundreds of years old and you may have never met them, but they can pop up and help you from time to time too. So that's kind of cool. And then lastly, maybe even celestial beings. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, did she just say basically aliens? And yes, I did. So celestial beings are things that are not exactly in human form. Now remember, I've talked about this in other videos where I describe energy. And so what I'm talking about is the energy, their light body, this being doesn't necessarily have to be human. Okay? So these can all be your guides. Now, first and foremost, you have one main guide. Okay, now that doesn't mean you have one guide only. It just means that you've had one main guide that you both agreed to having from day one. Okay, now this guide is really different because they are connected to you in a much different way. Now they're not in physical form, so they're not going to have a body. So when you are in pain, they're not going to be in pain and as well. Okay, but you do have emotional, mental, physical, spiritual aspects to make you a being. And if they're that connected to you, then they can feel your pain. They just can't feel it in a physical way. Okay. And this is really important because they need to be connected to you. They know what is in your Akashic records. They know what lessons you signed up for this lifetime. They know why you decided to be a man or a woman or a certain race or come into the world at this time. So they know all these things, which means that they know when to keep you on track. Okay, so oftentimes when we have created the most suffering for ourselves, it's when we have kind of steered way off track, and our guides kind of help us to stay on track. Okay. One other really, really important thing is if you want to connect more to your guides, ask. Talk to them, okay? Ask them. They're there for you, but we live in a free will zone, meaning that we have to make a conscious decision to ask for help. We have to make a conscious decision to be happy, to have joy in our lives and things like that. So it's no different for them as well, okay? So the next question I get asked often is, how do you meet your spirit guide? Like, how do you know that they're there, and who is this little light body being that I can't see that follows me around, right? Okay, so the first and foremost thing I can tell you is meditate. Start meditating if you haven't done it already. Meditate more if you're already doing it, okay? And what I mean is, and I'll do another video about meditation and things like that because there's some do's and don'ts about meditation. But when you're sitting quietly and peacefully, okay, meditate and ask your guides, asking them to come very, very close, okay, almost like intense, make me feel like they're really heavy and on top of me, and then push them really, really far away. Now, the reason for this is because I need to be able to distinguish what is my own energy and what is theirs. This is why meditation is vital, okay? Meditation is vital because you must know who you are at your core, what your energy feels like. So when you step into another energy field, another person, another environment, you can distinguish the differences, okay? That's why meditation is absolutely important. We always look outside of ourselves for the answers when they are within. And when we clean out and clutter all this and we have better communication with ourselves, usually the answers pop up like that. And eventually, then we can communicate to our guides better as well. So meditation is key. Also, your dreams. Your guides will communicate to you in your dreams. They will communicate to you with animals, patterns. If you start seeing numbers or the same animal over and over, or the same words you keep hearing like on the radio and then another person says it. And so there's patterns that they'll use, okay? It's to get your attention, hopefully, so that you stay on track. So you have the one main guide, but that doesn't mean that you only have the one main guide. Okay, so there are other guides that will pop up when the opportunity strikes and when there is a need for them. For example, let's say I'm starting a new YouTube channel and I am nervous about talking in front of people, or I'm not really tech savvy, and so I don't know what equipment to get. I don't know, I have all these questions about things that I can't find the answers to, or I don't know how. Your guides will nudge you in the right direction, to the right website, to the right people, to the right education, so that you can stay on track, okay? So there are other guides that specialize in different things, not just the one that was originally assigned to you, but they specialize in things that will keep you on track. So a perfect example of this is my guide, Jay. So my guide, Jay, presented himself to me several years ago, and he has been instrumental in helping me to communicate with past loved ones. When I was doing energy work and Reiki, I would have a lot of past loved ones that would come in, and I couldn't quite communicate with them, and I couldn't figure out what they were trying to say, and it was just really heartbreaking to me because I felt like they wouldn't have come unless they had a message, but I couldn't figure out the message. It was very frustrating, and I asked for help. You've got to ask your guides for help. They're right there, waiting in the wings, wanting to help you and cheer you on, but you've got to ask, okay? So I asked, and they presented me with my guide, Jay. So I wrote a lot about this in my second book. It's called Awaken Conversations. He was the core topic of everything in that book, and it was a way for me to explain to everybody a little bit about mediumship and how to communicate with your guides, okay? Okay, so I also get asked a lot, how do you actually get messages from your guides? Like, what does that feel like? What does it look like? Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you about something called clairs. Now, clairs there's a couple of different main ones. They correlate to your learning style, we'll say, okay? So we're gonna start with clairvoyant. If you are clairvoyant, you are able to see things. For example, you may see numbers on the radio and numbers on the clock, and they're repeating patterns. You may see those animals again. Those are your totems, your animal spirit guides. You may see certain colors or be drawn to certain colors. So these are subtle ways that your guides are communicating with you. Okay, that's called clairvoyance, the ability to see. Clairaudience is the ability to hear. So you may hear tones, pitches, birds singing the same song over and over again. You may hear your own voice in your own head, kind of like your own mental chatter saying, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. You know, your guides are communicating to you like that all the time. So that's clairaudient. Now we have clairsentient. So all my empaths out there, hey, this is a sensation of feeling, okay? So when you are very sensitive, so this means you could walk into a room and know, without even looking at anybody's face, you can know that there was an argument because you can feel it, right? You can walk into a empty home, you're home shopping, and you can feel the love and the beauty of that place, and that everybody that was in there was just this amazing, loving family. There's nobody in there, right? You're feeling it, okay? So this is how my guides started to communicate with me. It was through feeling, okay? And lastly, we have claircognizant, meaning that you just simply know. You don't really know how you know, but you just had a feeling. You knew that was going to happen. You knew that person was going to be not very nice. You knew this was the perfect place to buy a home or whatever, you know, so you just knew, okay? So what happens is, however you learn best is how your guides are going to start communicating with you first. So for me, it was feeling. I was a very sensitive child, okay? Meaning that when I was in an argument with somebody, I felt like it was this explosive thing, like they were mad and I was mad, and it was just this fiery energy. And then they would like walk away, and I would be like, you know, I don't even know why I'm arguing. I don't even care. I really didn't care. And then they'd walk back and I'd be like, "Arr," you know? So I realized, it took me a long time, but I realized I was feeling my energy and their energy, and it was doubled or amplified. And I had a couple of profound scenarios that happened that really proved to me that I needed to understand better what my energy is and what the energy is around me and in my environment or from other people, because we often get confused between what our emotions are or our thoughts are, because we're confusing. We got our chatter in our head and we're feeling everything around us, and it can be really overwhelming. And to be quite honest, I think that is 90% of people that with anxiety, especially like social anxiety and stuff like that. Anyway, this is how I communicated with my guides first, but I didn't even know, okay? The next thing, I'm a very visual learner, so I started seeing images, right? I started seeing, that was clairvoyant, right? Starting seeing images, or almost felt like memories to me, or signs or symbols or animals. So This is another way that my guides started communicating to me. And then so on, I had more clairaudient. Now, I don't hear things with my ears, okay? So most guides and light beings, past loved ones, they will use telepathy, meaning they literally talk to you in your own head, okay? So now every medium, everybody's different. You may actually hear tones, pitches, like high tones and pitches in your ears, like actually your ear, but I don't hear anything outside of my ear. It's all in my head, okay? And that's just my experiences. So now, over years and years and years, I use all of these clairs. Okay, I use them all the time, whether I'm doing a Reiki session, a mediumship session, a meditation with my guides, I'm asking for guidance, I'm talking to your guides. I use all of my clairs all the time, effortlessly and naturally. Okay, it takes work and practice, but I'm nobody special when it comes to this. Everybody can do this, okay? Even you. So it is important that you understand that you are an amazing light energy body and you are fully capable of doing all these things. So wherever you are, let's say you have not really ever heard about this before, but for some reason you clicked on this video, it is not a mistake, okay? Pay attention to what I'm saying. Let's say you've had some of these experiences and you were looking for this video and you're like, oh my gosh, she is totally getting me right now. So don't dismiss your random thoughts. They're not random. Those patterns, they're not random either. That is the way that your guides are communicating to you. It is a way for you to have guidance and support, okay? And if you are very well aware of all these topics and you are one of my coworkers, my mediums, my energy workers, my Reiki masters out there, you have got a huge smile on your face because you already know all this stuff and you are ecstatic that somebody is saying it on this kind of format. So wherever you are, just know that you have validation from me. If you already know, you have more validation from me if you're getting started. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, soak it all in, be a huge sponge, start meditating. So anyway, I hope this really helped you guys. I hope to answer questions about spirit guides, what it's like. And if you have any questions, please comment below. I would love to hear from you guys. If this is stuff that really is interesting to you, please like and subscribe. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Love and light.